To those who are already in the webinar session, good morning, good afternoon. We're still waiting for further participants to join in. So stay tuned for another half a minute and then we go. Okay, good morning and good afternoon and welcome to this community event jointly hosted by the Index Project and Siemens Stiftung. My name is Christine Niewöhner. I am a senior project manager at the education team of the international foundation Siemens Stiftung, where I'm responsible for the area STEM and creativity, and I have the big pleasure to moderate this session today. Jointly with the Index Project, we have set out on a journey bringing design thinking into education around the world, with the aim of nurturing creativity skills and innovation competencies among young learners and preparing them for the complex challenges of our time. On the other hand, we found it exciting to take a look at what design-based solutions to real-world problems might look like. So today, we are very pleased to have with us two representatives from both our networks, two exciting speakers on the question of how we can educate solution makers and how we spark change through design thinking. Welcome, Martín Bascopé and Mattia Bernini, and thank you for taking the time to share your stories with us. And by the way, with a remarkably international audience today, we counted participants from more than 20 nations all over the world. So thanks to all of you who tuned in as well. Martín is a professor at Pontificia Universidad Católica de Chile, teacher, trainer, and educational researcher. Martín, we have collaborated with you in various contexts on the topics of sustainability, of values, of citizenship, and now again in a joint approach on design thinking in STEM education. Martín will showcase concrete examples from the use of design thinking in schools in Chile as part of this joint initiative. Mattia Bernini is the creative director at Precious Plastic and One Army, working for the past 10+ years on projects healing the planet, as he says himself. Mattia will introduce us into the meaningful work of Precious Plastic as a global solution to plastic waste problem. The project was a finalist for the Index Award in 2017 in the category Community. After both their presentations, we will listen to a conversation between Mattia and Martín, which will also include your questions from the audience. So should you have any, feel free to post these, preferably in the Q&A section. And with that, let's get started. Martín, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Christine. Thanks for the invitations. Thanks to the Index Project. Of course, here I'm going to present. Can you see my slides? Yeah. Hopefully. Well, I will present some experiences in Chile regarding the use of design thinking for socio-ecological resilience. And here I'm going to explain a little bit this concept, and I will show you some concrete experiences of what we have been doing here in the south of Chile, and also with some colleagues in the central coast of Chile in Valparaíso, that has been working with another group of students and teachers. So that's a great team that has been working with the schools. And as Christine say, we work in training in-service and pre-service teachers here in Chile. And so let's go. I think Let me show you just as a framework this global change and climate emergency, this global challenge that we all are facing. And here's some quotes on the Berlin Declaration that just came out of the oven, no, in May 2021. Many of you might know this, but here we are talking about the importance of schools as living laboratories for active citizenship and participation. We need learning that it's experiential, action-oriented, localized, and culturally specific. So here the role of teachers is very important. And also we have to empower these young people to be agents of change for sustainable development. So we found a lot of, we that have been working several years in education for sustainability are very aligned with this global challenge that has been framed in this Berlin Declaration in May this year. So how do we get there? Let me show you some concepts that are behind this. What do we mean when we talk about education for socio-ecological resilience? So we have that resilience is this capacity to adapt to external changes and overcome these adverse situations. The case of climate change is one of those. And so we said, why do we set socio-ecological resilience? Because you have some personal capacities or individual capacities that you have to achieve resilience and to adapt to these changes. But we also need this adaptation at the community level. So this is why it's socio-ecological. They are not just psychological or personal capacities, but also the connection with the natural and social environment, the amount of links, the communication, and the situations that you can achieve in local environments regarding being aware of who can help you with something, of who can be or solution that challenge that you are affronting. That's something that is very important too. And we think that the school doesn't, and education can have an impact in both levels, the individual at that some skills, values, and knowledge that can be pursued with education activities. But you also, when you go out there, you can also achieve this social links and social capital links that you can achieve with this kind of activities. And also we are very interested in developing agency. Yes, this perception of efficacy, this capacity to influence and determine your own life and your surroundings. This is not something straightforward. Sometimes educational opportunities doesn't pursue this, and it can become just a transmission of knowledge, memory, and you know, have the opportunity to develop agency. So we are forming agents of change. So this is kind of what we pursue with place-based STEM education. So here the foundations or pillars, and maybe talk a little bit about what do we mean with design thinking in this, and how this is related with design thinking. So and the first time it has to be placed based, yeah, regarding the local territory. Then you can think as a schools as a transformation engine using this STEM approach to affront the challenges. You can also it's very important to integrate different knowledge, to be inter or transdisciplinary around this local challenge. Then you can also find some collaborators inside of the school or also in the school surroundings. It's very important to make for these collaborations to be constant and in time. So we make this follow up, collaborating with several schools in our surroundings. And another thing that's very important is to the incorporation of these relevant local actors and to establish these collaboration networks and to make this mainstream or traditional knowledges that you pass in the schools also dialogue with other non-conventional, non-traditional knowledges that are present in the surroundings of the schools. So to go to the examples, and so you can have a look. Here is Chile, yeah, almost inside of the Pacific Ocean near Argentina. We are working in two areas: the central area that it's here near Valparaiso in the 5th region, the region of Valparaiso, sorry, and the other one is in the south where I am right now, with I will present 3 schools in the northern part and 3 in the southern part. The ones from the northern part are secondary students from 14 to 18-year-olds, and we are working in the southern part with kids from 4 to 10 years, so primary school, and some of them in preschool too. So how to tell you a little bit about the story on how do we get to design thinking, how we did we connect with the Index project and with Siemens Stiftung. We started with in Villarrica with project-based learning training, and in Valparaiso they had been working also in learning communities with different schools. Siemens and the Index project came in 2019, and we make this Index project training in Chile at the end of 2019, just a month before the lockdown everywhere. So we achieved to get together in this interesting opportunity: Denmark, Germany, and Chile, in 2 regions all together working in design thinking. So we get aligned with the compass and with the idea, and they were very aligned with what we had been working before. So we make in 2020 the virtual session of design thinking training to end with this with the second round, and we made some after that we make some continuous teacher training in Chile during 2020 and 21 using design thinking. And now in this year, we are now making this train the trainer workshops to try to multiply this effect to new territories, new teachers, and of course, and more important, new students. What happened in Valparaiso that I will going to go a little bit in depth. They started with local challenges in the central region in Chile related with wildfires and drought. So they developed some of these projects during 2021, and in Villarrica, we started with this distance family gardens, a way to make active learning locally with local importance, to tackle some of the challenges that has been presenting during the pandemic, and try to work hands-on but distance. That was a big challenge, and I think that we are reaching, and Green Gardens give us an opportunity there to work in your own home or in your own context. So some of the to be a little bit more clear on how this evolved in Villarrica, we started with project-based learning, so it has to be locally pertinent. We implemented 11 projects in 2019, and we were with this idea of creating solutions for local challenges. And when we had the opportunity to get to know the project that Christine and her team were leading in starting in Africa and then trying to go to Latin America, and we decided to make this design thinking training because they were very aligned with what we've been doing beforehand. So we started using that was a very interesting opportunity to start using the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, to define the challenges. Great idea, and they make many local challenges arise starting from this global big challenges. So we integrate different methods from social sciences, natural sciences, and design thinking, and we're starting to prototype and in some cases applying some solutions to these local challenges. But we suddenly get this distance education challenge, starting to build everything into a virtual fashion, and we decided to start 2020 with teacher training, to plan educational activities for the next year using design thinking. And we started working with children during 2021 with this idea of distance family gardens. So this is a kind of a zoom of the map where we are working. Here's Villarrica, where I am right now. Here are the 3 schools, so very rural, a lot of nature, challenges, a lot of local knowledge regarding also green gardens, and so we started with this idea of how can we work with design thinking, with inquiry-based learning at a distance fashion. And so we decided to put all our efforts in the family gardens, and we have 3 projects running right now with different scopes to the use of family gardens. So we have, on the one hand, healthy eating that was a problem in the community, especially with the lack of resources during the pandemics. So we need to find and fruits and vegetables are very expensive for the budgets of these families. We have to start a project that helps the kids and families also. We have another schools in Carileufu, in the more to the mountains, where they make this collaboration with the local medical center and start growing medicinal gardens in with their own families. So they started and collected knowledge from their grandparents, parents, and connecting with local farmers and also traditional medicine women and men, to start getting to know, recognize the different species, and also with the idea of generating this medicinal toolkit that you can that they will deliver at the end of the year to this medicinal center in their own localities. And the third one was also related with this idea of family food sovereignty. A lot of interest from parents to start getting to know a little bit more, so some of this knowledge that has been left behind, give some new importance now during the pandemics, with a lot of, this is a very touristic area, so that you can imagine the impact in the economies of the families. So this was a big challenge, and we are trying to work together with communities, families, local organizations, and the kids, of course, to tackle these challenges. These are so local global challenges or that are related: health and well-being, responsible production and consume, and also zero hunger. Those are kind of global challenges that have been coped with our projects. And going fast into what happens in the central part of Chile, these are older kids from 14 to 18 years old, so they are much more technified and more maybe more complex engineering and mathematics behind this, and they have been working in 3 different challenges. So the first one, it's all against fires. This is an area with a lot of wildfires, water scarcity, and a lot of monocultures. So they were working on generating this monitoring station where they can prevent and monitor the air quality to in different sites to start raising alarms when fires started. So climate actions and life and ecosystems are very important goals here. Another project that has been working and other schools in the area of more agriculture with a lot of scare, with a lot of drought, unemployment, and lack of watering technologies. They are working now in this automatic watering projects using technology and low cost, of course, technology to give this to the local farmers and families of the kids. And another project was the water pollution project. Again, drought, scarcity of water, and lack of drinking water in a lot of rural areas. Starting this idea of working in some plasma technology to make drinking water. So water and clean water is one of the goals. More industry and innovation, and of course responsible consumer and production. So I know, I think I'm getting to the end of the time that I had. I will be very interested in getting to know your impressions or answer your questions. But I think that here what we have found is that design thinking and project-based learnings can impulse educational institutions to be engines for local transformations, not only to transform their pupils, but also to transform their surroundings, their environment, to build more solid communities and build more new links, that the kids build new meaningful links with actors that they beforehand didn't knew or doesn't perceive as important of key or crucial to solve the local challenges. So now we are working on some educational resources to activate these solution-oriented learning opportunities here in Latin America. So here's some links of what we have been doing. We work in this kit to implement these kinds of projects here in Chile with a lot of characteristic of and species of flora, fauna of here local in Chile. But also we are working in open this interactive museum on agroecology and sustainability, open to the whole community, not only kids or childhood, but also to the greater community. And now at the end of the year, you will be hearing from Siemens Stiftung and their big initiative for STEM education and innovation that we are working also in producing some new blended resources to start this kind of initiative or projects that join this scientific and local knowledge in the production of these projects to solve local challenges. So thanks for the opportunity and the space, and looking forward for our discussion afterwards.
Thank you so much, Martin. I think we could continue forever listening to you. Thank you so much for giving us such a great insight into what exactly design thinking projects in schools can look like, and even how they can also reach beyond the school context into communities and further networks. However, let's now listen to Mattia's amazing story of precious plastic as an answer to the global plastic waste problem. Mattia, it's your turn, please.
Yes, hello everyone. Thank you, Christine and Dita and everyone for organizing this, and thank you, Martin, for your enthusiasm. It's incredible to see so much passion into the work that you do. So yeah, as Christine was saying earlier, my name is Mattia Bernini, and I'm the creative director at Precious Plastic and One Army. And I am currently in the middle of a huge storm. So the light has been going off earlier as well. So if there's any glitch, just let me know. I'll try to, I don't know, just fix it somehow. And I'll try to speak slower if there's any delays. So let me share my screen now. There we go. All right. So yeah. So as I said, I am the creative director of Precious Plastic. And so let me start really from, where it all begins. And that is the huge plastic waste problem. And here you're looking at a gigantic waste dump in Nairobi, Kenya. And that's really, where it all started, the reason why we wake up in the morning every day. And I am not going to bore you with, terrible data about the plastic pollution problem. I'm sure that you are all pretty aware by now. It's 2021. We've all heard it a lot. The little piece of data that I want to share with you is that still in 2021, only less than 9% of all plastic that is produced is recycled, and that is hugely low. And you can imagine the remaining 91% gets either burned or dumped somewhere or in the ocean. So we are working to increase that 9% with Precious Plastic. And at the beginning of our journey to plastic, we really started to research and look into why is it that plastic doesn't get recycled. And after our year-long research, we kind of come up with the answer to this in the inaccessible knowledge and tools that are necessary to start recycling. Because nowadays in 2021, if you want to start a recycling business, you are very likely to be looking at tens of millions of dollars to even start recycling. And of course, you can imagine how only a few people can do that. And we have seen that this has been sort of the strategy for the past 50 years on, to tackle plastic waste. And it's pretty clear that it doesn't work. Otherwise, we would have much higher rates of recycling. So we thought of like, turning this upside down and really, create a network of people that are tackling the plastic pollution on a daily basis. So from having just a few people recycling big quantities to having many thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people recycling smaller bits of plastic, and together having a greater impact. So we started back in 2015 when we released these 4 machines. These are, very small scale, easy to build, very cheap to build, modular machines that can be built all around the world. And this was just really to get people started on the idea that they could also, work with this new material that is now, so ubiquitous around the world. Fast forward 5 years, in 2020, we released these bigger sets of machines, and we call them semi-industrial. They are a little bit more expensive to build, and they cost, and they are also a little bit more difficult. However, once you have these machines, you can really set up a plastic recycling business. Making a living through recycling. And with this machine, you can make all sorts of things. You can make chairs, bench, stools, smaller products, more precise products, lighting, more construction materials like bricks or beams, or even bigger sort of modular structures. Or like in this case, a huge 9-meter long table. And we made these for J.D. Smith. I want to share with you a little video. I hope it will work. Let me see. Of a little bit of it behind the scene of how that came together.
So a few months ago, this guy, I'm just an icon living, start a record label, Miss just did it. Drop by in our workspace to see what we're up to.
Yo, what's up? We're at the Press Plastics headquarters right now.
And he was saying, yo man, I would really like a big, massive table for recycled plastic. Now, a precious plastic, usually we don't really make tables, but it seemed like a fun challenge, a big, massive table. So sure, so obviously we're gonna make this thing from waste. CD cases, old cups, some technology stuff, the inside of a fridge, we can all use this. And we really wanna make this precious, like a big chunk of...
So I'm gonna skip a bit through it, and here, see our friend Joy started to work on this table.
I give a fuck about the fashion. Look at these stupid reactions. Busy running to them hater race.
And then we just got it to LA, delivering it to to Smith family. Just a fun little project to really try and push the limits of what's possible within plastic recycling. And that's very much what we like to do at Precious Plastic, really pushing the limits of what's possible within this new craft of plastic recycling as we see it. And what you've seen until now are more the analog solutions that we offer to our community. However, of course, because we are so globally connected, we also have a whole host of online solutions and platforms. And these help people to connect, to share, and to learn from each other. So starting with our website, that's where people, get on preciousPlastic.com. They see what we are about, what we do, our mission, the machines, the techniques. They get inspired a bit, and then once they are ready to start, once they're like, okay, I'm gonna take it on my shoulder to tackle the plastic waste problem, then they can start through our academy, And this is a really rich resource online with over 60 video tutorials on taking people from zero to hero in their recycling journey. And here they will learn about plastic, what plastic is, what is a polymer, how to melt it safely, and also how to build the machines, how to collect plastic, how to create it, all the different techniques that they can use to recycle plastic, all the way through how to have a business plan and how to make a living through recycling. So really trying to make it a very dense and rich pool of knowledge for people that want to tackle this problem. Then we also have a map, which is a very crucial tool for us that connects people locally. Because of course, we want to be connected globally, but also the real action happens locally, where people can start collaborating on this huge challenge that we're facing. Events, of course, very important. Well, not in the last year or so, but this is this tool is intended to really provide an audience to people that are doing recycling events, workshop, events in school, university, and so on. Lately, we also released what we call the how-tos, and these are step-by-step guides that anyone in the world can make to teach others how they recycle plastic. And finally, the creation of knowledge has been passed on from us, from Precious Plastic, a centralized place, to everyone else. So suddenly you can have much more diverse range of solutions from people around the world. Then we have the Bazaar, which is our own precious plastic marketplace. And here people buy and sell precious plastic machines, molds, raw material, products, and so on. And this is a really useful tool for generating local economies around recycling plastic and to enable people to do this more full time. So really that's what we try to achieve within Precious Plastic, to have people to learn, to connect with each other, with like-minded people, to build their project, and then to create valuable products from waste, and then eventually share what they learn back within the community so that the whole cycle can start again. And once you get on Precious Plastic, it can be a bit overwhelming. It's like a huge pool of knowledge, 60, 70 different video tutorials and videos and a lot of technical drawings. So it can be a bit difficult to start. And that's why we created the starter kits, which are sort of step-by-step guides that get people really from zero to hero, let's say. So from learning, of course, about plastic, to getting the funding for the project, to how to get a team together, how to find the right space, all the way to building the machines or buying the machines if they cannot build it, and how to make a business out of this, because eventually, if people can do this as a business, they can do it more regularly and recycle more plastic by doing so. So really, all these analog solutions, digital solutions, people, machines, all of these things, they create what we call the Precious Plastic universe, which is now fully global and also, very much local at the same time. And an important aspect of this is the open source nature of our projects. We share everything online for free because we don't want to put any sort of barriers to entry for anyone. We want everyone just start, right? I mean, that's the most important thing, like that more and more people start recycling so that we can have a go at tackling this huge plastic waste problem. And of course, this sort of create a little community around the world, people that are making cleanup, they're creating products, they educating people, doing workshops, getting income, employing 7, 10 people in their little village, to recycle plastic. And that is really incredible. And by now we have precious plastic workspaces nearly in every country in the planet. And that is incredible. And I would say one of the most beautiful things is also that these people, I met a lot of them, and they are all just lovely, beautiful souls that are trying to fix this big problem that is that we are currently facing as a planet. And also what is interesting is that this global community, these people from all around the world, they take our knowledge, and because their context is slightly different or very different, they come up with hacks and improvements on our machines, on our products, and our techniques, which inspires us on a daily basis and help us to sort of inform next versions and iterations of the project. And also when it comes to the products, we're just sharing a few techniques on how to work with plastic, and then people take it onto themselves to really push this to the next level. And so yeah, all of this together creates a big sort of global change that precious plastic has become known for, from educational workshops to, of course, transforming plastic waste into products and educating people, doing beach cleanups and so on. This really is the kind of impact that precious plastic has become known for. So I would like to just leave it here for now, and I'm sure you guys have lots of questions still open. So I will pass it on to Christina, and then I'll be happy to answer your question in the Q&A later on.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mattia, for sharing this project and also impressive story from coming from a rather simple product or solution to but to come to a global movement. And yeah, it's pretty impressive to see that development. And actually now we have listened to two very different presentations, but there is a lot of common ground, and this is something we would like to explore now in a conversation in the remaining 20 minutes. So to start it with a very obvious one, because this one is the cause of our event today. You both come from very different professional backgrounds, from two different countries and continents. But what unites you nonetheless is the use of design thinking in your work. And I would therefore like to hear a bit more about your different perspectives on this methodology. So Martin, in your opinion, what is the potential of design thinking as an innovative teaching and learning methodology in the context of education of 21st century, with regards maybe to a learning journey of a student, or maybe also the role of a teacher?
Yeah, thanks, Christine. I think the design thinking and project-based learning, active child-centered learning, and action learning also. Yeah, we are trying to solve local challenges. They cope with the literature has this idea of the 4 C's for the 21st century. Yeah, so creativity, communication, critical thinking, and collaboration. So all of them can be encouraged, and you can work on those different skills using these methodologies and projects. So I think it's a very good one, and has a lot of potential.
That's great. And for you, Mattia, as a designer yourself, it might be obvious to work with this methodology. Still, what kind of concepts or principles of design thinking do you consciously apply in your daily work?
I think we were discussing that earlier through our email exchange, and saying it's like asking a fish, how do you fish? And it's like, it doesn't know, you just do it, So for us, it's kind of difficult to talk about how we think, right? It's just, I guess that's just how we do it. But I think an important aspect of it is fostering curiosity, and also being very okay and with the fact of failing. Just give it a try it out, see what happens. You never know what kind of solution can come out from your mistakes. So I think that is a very important element of design thinking. Like just try it out, see what happens. I think you never know what can come out of this serendipity. And of course, always keeping the user in mind. And we have a whole bunch of different users. So in our case, we really go into the service design sort of field, because we have literally users from all sides, all corners of the planet, from NGOs down to recyclers, students, so everyone that really wants to tackle this problem. And I think that is really the power of precious plastic. Like such huge global problems, they can only be fixed if society at all levels comes in. And so I think we have to cater for all these different users, which it's incredibly challenging, because you have to keep in mind and being in many different mindsets, which it's nearly impossible, I would say. But I think at least we sort of try to put ourselves in their shoes
and start again from scratch and try to focus on the new user. Yeah, Mattia, you are a creative director at Precious Plastic, and Martin also just mentioned creativity as one of the 21st century skills in education. And as we could see in your presentation, Mattia, that there is actually a lot of creativity involved, not only when it comes to the products that you can create from recycled plastics, but also with respect to the different solutions or platforms you're working on. So what role does creativity play in your work? And also, how do you keep creativity flowing in your team?
Yeah. Well, I have to say I'm a little wary of using creativity, only applied to design. I think, a scientist or a doctor is incredibly creative, like thinking about all these people that have been working on vaccines the last 2 years, they are hugely creative. So I think creativity is just a built-in feature of human beings. And I think it's thanks to the work of people like Martin that we can foster that in kids, right? So I think it just comes with, responsibility. Once you give someone a challenge and the responsibility to take it on their shoulder, I think, people will naturally come up with creative solutions. If creative is meant as, something new that wasn't thought of before.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if we consciously create an environment for that, but I think we maybe more hand over creativity to, responsibility to people in our team.
Mm-hmm. So let's bring it into the school context, Martin. Creativity is listed actually among the future skills when it comes to preparing young people to the complex challenges of our times, and actually to imagine those solutions and innovations that we need. So how do you think creativity can be encouraged more in schools, and what kind of contribution can design thinking make here?
Yeah, I think that this link with the surroundings, with the context, with your own personal life, with your daily life challenges, that gives you a lot of potential. And I wanted to make a point that the idea of creativity is not just building creative solutions to challenges. I think that the main challenge, and one of the things that the design thinking methodology and project-based learning or place-based learning can make a contribution, it's the creativity in finding the challenges, like seeing a critical view to your context, that maybe you can pass all your educational experiences without seeing that thing, whatever it is, as a challenge. And I think that's even harder than finding a solution, because the solution requires the problem. Yeah, and sometimes it's difficult. It's more difficult to see the challenge and that is things that we work the most with teachers and also with students. It's in generating good questions, good challenges, and of course make the road to build a solution. But I think that their design thinking has a lot of potentials.
Now, since you're talking of challenges, let's take a reality check. We are facing one of the biggest challenges of our times currently with the pandemic, and it's far from over. What did and does this current crisis mean for design thinking and for your work as a teacher, as a designer, and for your projects? How did you cope with the fact that on-site workshops workspaces were probably not open and maybe are still not possible right now. Mattia, how did you do that? What did you find as an alternative way to work?
Yeah, I think it goes back to the creativity that we were mentioning before, right? Once we have a challenge and a problem, people will surprise you with incredible solutions. And I would say in the beginning of the pandemic, back in March 2020, when there was no supplies, there was no, the whole supply chain was coming to an halt. People in the precious plastic community, they very quickly started to design and share designs to print masks. And, in a matter of a few weeks, they started sharing these drawings and making molds, and then started to produce tens of thousands of face masks to hand over to hospital for free, right? Because it was not possible to receive them or order them from China like we are used to. And so that was, a nice anecdote on the pandemic and what our community has been able to do. And also like the beauty of being connected globally, and how, you can send a file and then someone in Chile can print them and make, tens of thousands of life-saving equipment. But I would say also on another side, like more workshops, a lot of the people that are using our knowledge, they focus on education. So they do workshops at events, corporate events, universities, schools, concerts, beach cleanups, all sorts of things. And of course, the pandemic kind of made it very difficult to do so. But in a matter of just a few weeks, they translated all of that knowledge in digital format, and then they started doing workshops on Zoom or whatever platform, and still transferring this knowledge to people and educating people about this challenge. So I think no challenge and no problems are too big to be overcome. And I think this pandemic is really showing how we can, as a whole, if we put our heads to it, change, how we do things for the better.
Yeah, and embrace change as an opportunity. Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
Actually,
yes,
I
think my generation was born into crisis.
We have some questions from the audience, which I would like to pass on to you. There is a question from Erika to Martin. She's asking about the process of building up these initiatives. So do you first teach design thinking methodology, or do people learn it as they go?
Yeah, it's kind of a going backward and forward, and not always everything that you teach in a workshop it's completely absorbed, so it has to be. I think you learn much more in the implementation that during the workshop, but the workshop gives you this first push to go forward and try to make innovation. What we have been thinking is to think about teacher workshops as a space of collaborations between peers, like in a very horizontal way, having persons from the university, persons from experts from the local communities, and teachers working together in solving challenges, and making and giving a space, because here we teachers are always lacking of time and having a lot of things to do. So the workshops are a very valuable space to collaborate and plan together and make the Gantt and the calendar and everything. But afterwards, when you start implementing, you start understanding the challenges and the difficulties. So not only workshops, but also that we have this at least monthly follow-up in each schools that we are working with to try to see how we solve. We have the experience on research, social and natural sciences, and they have the pedagogical skills. So we can make that synergy to work together. So that is why it's very important also to build this like collaborative ecosystems around the schools, and that it's not only that doesn't have to fall in the shoulders of the teachers, but the professionals that are working around the educational centers, I think.
Yeah, thank you, Martin. I think it's both, as Mattia just said as well, the theory and the practice. You're learning something, but then it's very important to try it out and maybe go a step back and then try out again. And eventually have success. Then a question to Mattia from Krista and Erika. So can people recycle things again? So things that have been produced by recycling plastics and recycle this again, is that also possible?
Yeah, that is possible. I think it really depends on the process that is being used to make the actual product. I think so. You have a melting temperature, and that's what you should keep plastic within all the time. And if you keep plastic within the melting temperature, and then you just shape a new product, that's all cool. You can do it multiple times. Of course, if the process is run at a higher temperature, plastic will start to degrade and, of course, lose some of its qualities. And at that point, it will be harder to recycle. However, if you run the machines and your processes as we teach on the academy, it is possible to recycle multiple times.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Now I have two more questions to you. Actually, the one is impact. So as you might know, the orientation towards social impact serves as the basis for the work of both our institutions, the Index Project and Siemens Stiftung. Mattia, you have started with a small idea and over the years became a global movement. Can you tell us a little bit more on the impact you have achieved, maybe some figures, and as how you inspire people to create their own businesses? And yeah, let's just explore this a little bit.
Absolutely. Maybe I share again my screen, because a couple of years ago we ran a global impact survey where we exactly took those questions and try to figure out what is the impact of precious plastic. And of course, you can understand that as an open source company, it's very difficult to track who is using your knowledge, because people can just go on the web, download our files and then start. Sometimes they don't tell you, if they're working on it. So it can be challenging to really know exactly, how many people are working on that. And also, maybe you can do a step back and what is impact, how do you measure your impact? But a couple of years ago, we ran this global impact survey where we surveyed 1,000 people. That is kind of a small portion of our community, but I guess, it gives a little bit of a glimpse of, what's happening around the community. And we got some data back. Maybe I can put the link in the chat later on, but I would say what was very interesting from these 1,000 people was to realize that in a single year, over $5 million were being raised to start precious plastic projects. And, these projects were generating over $2 million in, workshops, product design sales, machine sales, and so on. And, there was, bigger and bigger teams. And an interesting element is here, and I think it relates a lot as well to Martin, how, our 18 to 25, 18 to 30 years old age group is the most active. And we had that since the very beginning. Young people want to do something about this problem, and they are incredibly active, taking it on their shoulders. Just yesterday I was answering an email from this young girl, 14 years old in Amsterdam, already started the whole project. She was going for fundings, and that's really, it gives you hopes, these new generations are really kicking asses, if you can say that, maybe. And yeah, I would say, I can put the link in there. There's a bit of data on which machine were built and how many of the workspaces are financially sustainable. But I would say, yeah, impact can be defined in many different ways. And whenever I jump on calls with people around the world and they tell me that they managed to employ another 2 people, or they are making more and more workshops, for me is always like a source of pride, because more people can make a living through recycling, and that means for me that is impact in a nutshell.
That is really so impressive to see. And surely you will share a link with us in the chat, how if anyone here from the participants wants to get in touch with Precious Plastic, how you can do that. So Martin, regarding impact, I know it would be easy to count how many students you may have reached, or predict even how many more this will be when you extend your work into further regions. However, I know you're frequently evaluating your work as well, the quality of your work and your projects. So what can you tell us so far about the qualitative impact of working with design thinking in class? You spoke about new skills, or also small changes in classroom instruction. Maybe it's a little bit too early at this stage because we have just started, but still you might have observed something. Anything you can tell us here?
Yes, yes. Of course. Well, first we take this first input on design thinking techniques, and we spread it during 2020 in by training like almost 100 teachers from the region. So trying to spread the impact to their students and their colleagues. That's kind of a quantitative or first impact. But in terms of what we had found in this working together, monthly visits with this follow-up with the schools, I think that on the one side you have this for starting with interviews with the teachers and directors, and in the interviews they started to say that they recognize that kids are starting to understand better what's the nature of science, what does science really means, like what is to do science and what is not. So that you can evaluate it very with kids, 5-year-old, 6-year-old kids, like with direct questions of is this science or this is not science, and you start they start understanding what science is, and also they started to recognize data from opinion. That's another thing that we've had found that they understand when something is data and when something it's like a personal or opinion, and that's from the kids' sides on the getting like knowledge and some scientific skills. But two important things. One, in terms of agency, we found that, of course, the agency of kids was developed, the capacity of impact their own surroundings was clearly shaped, but not only in kids, but also in teachers. That was very interesting, and the majority of the teachers that we interviewed during 2019, they almost all of them say that they wasn't expecting the impact that the project had. Like they were seeing it as an educational opportunity, but they didn't saw that as a really as something that would really benefit the communities around the schools. So that is very interesting, because it's not only developing agency on kids, but also seeing the teachers' work as having a new meaning and a new sense or purpose. So that is very interesting. And the final thing that we are working on better ways of measure it is this first impact on social capital building. Social capital is the kind of the amount of links that you have, like as near or with your near community of where or having new links with people that are outside of your community. All of those things like increase the amount of social capital that you have on one community. And we have found that there were people that were very near, but that were disconnected. And also you find these bridges between new persons from the academia or from the universities or from NGOs that are working in different cities, and they are now connected with the schools and their communities. So there is another impact very interesting to that you can't find or you can't achieve if you are inside of the classroom and just making it the traditional way. So
yeah,
that's it. Yeah,
that is pretty impressive to hear, and also gives hope, and actually brings me to my very last question. I hope you bear with me. I know it's 4 p.m., but I want to look into the future together with you. The Index project uses the slogan "Design to Improve Life," speaking of our mission to redefine design from a commercially driven discipline to one that's used to improve quality of life for everyone. So I'd like to ask you, what is your vision with respect to the methodology, but also regarding your work as a professor or as a designer? Just a very short statement, maybe for your vision, and how do we get there in small steps? Mattia or Martin, whoever wants to start first.
Martin, me? Yeah, I think I like to see more empowered individuals that take it on themselves to find meanings in their lives. I think that's what Precious Plastic does particularly well, particularly within the design community. We have a lot of designers that come out of school incredibly skilled, but the market only presents them with the usual production houses that, where they would be placed, where they would be using their skills to produce more useless things that no one really needs anymore. And it's 2021, and we all can agree that a lot of things that we create are not needed. And so this creates a lot of anxiety and depression in designers when they come out of school. And Precious Plastic gives them a way to keep on designing, keep on doing what they love, keep on doing what they've been trained for a greater good, in a way, for a meaningful project. So I think, and you can really see how sort of life comes back into these people when they can still do what they love without compromising the future of this planet. So an empowered individual, it's it has double the life in himself or herself than someone that is just going about life. So I would say more empowered individuals will bring about the necessary change for the challenges that we are all facing together.
What a great call to action. Thank you, Mattia. How about you, Martin? Your vision as a professor.
Yeah, I think that right now, all of the people, including me, that are working on education are facing a very difficult time, like a loss of sense. A lot of problems, like to manage personal life, work. What is the sense of making of teaching in this distance context? So we are facing like this sense crisis, and I think that this kind of initiatives that puts the schools with a new purpose, with a communitary purpose, with a sense of really building something meaningful for kids and their communities. It's something that we need to look forward to, and also finding the tools to make it. Even though we have this pandemic or sanitary condition, it's a big challenge. And yeah, we have been facing starting first trying to build like digital competences first. If sometimes you don't have connections and you have to go to the kids' house, so I think that when you have a sense of purpose and you are able to encourage not only kids but their families, their parents, their grandparents, that makes a difference. We are now facing a very, very important problem in education, that it's that the ones with the lack of resources, with lack of connection, are the ones that are facing the more trouble, the more problems. So right now it's very important to reach them and get to them with a sense of purpose, and here the way that we can involve their own context, their own families, it's very important. And I think these techniques and trying to solve your own problems with your families can make a difference and give this new sense or orientation to education, and I hope that goes on that direction. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. With that, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and ideas and for an engaging and inspiring conversation. I really enjoyed listening to you. Thank you, dear audience, for joining in today. It's really great to see and to know that so many like-minded people are engaged in different ways, in different contexts, and in different countries in healing our planet, in improving lives, and in designing a more sustainable future. Thank you for joining this true community event. We hope it has inspired you as well. Let's stay in touch and have a great remaining week. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.